Yes, my Straight Dog family, I want to thank you for holding on, and I want to apologize for my slightly tardy start tonight, but I know it is past time for me to say a very pleasant night to one and all in St. Kitts and Nevis, and to you all over the Caribbean region. We go as far south, down there in Guyana, yes, down in Trinidad and Tobago, come up to Barbados, all my friends and fans in St. Lucia, St. Lucie, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dominica, my Straight Dog family, bonsoir Guadeloupe, bonsoir Martinique aussi, and in Antigua and Barbuda. Haven't heard from Montserrat for a long time, but if you're in the house, Montserrat, good night. A special good night to Sister Island Nevis, and going west, yes, to St. Eustatia, Sabre Statia, St. Martin and Guilla, and down as far down as the BVI, Anegada, Tortola, that's in the British Virgin Islands. Some very interesting politics going on in the BVI. St. Thomas and St. Croix y San Juan, Puerto Rico, buenas noches también. And how about our friends and family in the Kittitian and the Vision diaspora? I can say greetings to all of you. There's some of you in Africa, there's some of you in Asia, there's some of you in Europe, and there are a whole lot of you in North America. So I can say good night. I will say good morning to especially Norma and Danny over there in the United Kingdom and all in the UK and Europe. And I can say good afternoon as well. I just found a friend in Poland just a few days ago who listens to Straight Talk. Ryan, if you're up and about, is it morning in your time? Is it morning or afternoon in Poland? I gotta get that right. But wherever you are, greetings and welcome to another edition of Straight Talk. And if you are a first timer, it's a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, you do have a forum to express yourselves freely. Let us, in the process, try to get St. Kitts and Nevis back to that enviable position of being the freest, if not one of the freest countries in the entire world. On this program, we try to raise the level of national consciousness. We try to raise the level of national discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liebert, and I thank Almighty God for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And for the first timers in particular, I want you to be aware that you'll find in me an untiring advocate of truthfulness. Nothing is watered down in any way, whether by omission or exaggeration, to make it more interesting. That does not happen on Straight Talk. Because I consider it my duty to always present the unvarnished truth about governance, in particular in my country, as a stickler of continuous improvement. And be informed as well that Straight Talk is a participative program. By that I mean we include your calls, we include your emails. And if you're so minded to call, the numbers are 869-663 6672. That's a local number. And or 646-829-6672. And I can as well apprise you, I can inform you that the 646-829-6672, it's a US number, but you can access that number from any part of the world via WhatsApp. But there's some of you who like what I call the cloak of anonymity. So we give you access via our email platform. Those who like to just hide behind the keyboard. Just be respectful whether you call or you send messages nonetheless. And that email address is Straight Talk Patches at STRAIGHTTALKPATCHES. That's the lowercase. Straight Talk Patches, that's one word, at gmail.com. We get lots of emails, and I try to dispense of them, everyone, on every program. But tonight's dissertation, I have entitled, No PAP, No Jobs, No Shelter for the Poor. And the focus will be on the latter, the poor, shelter for the poor, as we all must have heard about the $1.5 billion agreement to construct 2,400 smart houses in 4 years. And for my friends in Trinidad, I mean no disrespect, but put that in our money, real money, $600 million, Eastern Caribbean dollars, or $227 million to construct 2,400 smart houses in 4 years. And that obviously has captured the attention of every Kititian in particular, for many reasons, many reasons. But before we go into detail in terms of my dissertation, my thesis tonight, and before I get into trouble, first of all, I must, on behalf of the entire Straight Talk family, extend congratulations to the Federation's newly weds. Vows were exchanged today between, believe it or not, a big Straight Talk family elder and member, Lydia Dumpling Manners, and Charles Spinman Chapman. They exchanged wedding vows today and became obviously husband and wife, and as it's always anticipated, till death do their part. So we wish Mr. and Mrs. Chapman God's richest blessing, and we hope and trust that it would be a life of joy. Dumpling you can still call, I am sure, because nobody gonna change Dumpling. But congratulations, my dear friend Lydia Dumpling Manners and Chapman, Charles Spinman Chapman, on your wedding day. And as we come up as well as a community broadcast, I can say, the Jordan Williams' birthday bash is getting near. I think it's this coming Saturday, the 13th. Yes, the 13th. Is this coming Saturday, the 13th? It's at the at Kenny's Garage at 2731 Golden Avenue in the Bronx, New York. The area code is 10469. I've been struggling with a little flu a couple of days, and I want to apologize for my coughing. I was not even aware that on our last episode. And I can assure you, someone asked if I had the COVID. No, I'm COVID free. But to enter at the door at Jordan Williams' birthday bash this coming weekend, entertainment, Mr. Bagnall, Smiley, Upfront Band, DJ Fire, Pungwa, and DJ Menti. All that is required is a small donation at the door. How do we classify small? That's a good question. Walk with your own brown bag. I know we used to do that a long time ago. But let's consider first our our usual observations in review. And that's a time when we highlight the issues of the day and do some reflection. We may then ask a few questions, such as what was accomplished, how has it helped others, what has changed since, and what can be expected next. Also, what new we have learned as a people. And we are still investigating this Christopher Harbour forgiveness of debts. You know, everything under this administration is really so secretive, although they talk about transparency. But that's the new way, a better day under this administration. But our first observation, nonetheless, everybody is talking about our Prime Minister who went to see the King. Prime Minister Jew went to Buckingham Palace and the Westminster Abbey to see the King, to dine with the King. Perhaps he thought it best to do that, although he has plans, or rather he plans based on him to soon transition St. Kitts and Nevis into a republic. But that's if he has his own way, because I know that the peoples of St. Kitts and Nevis are divided, irrespective of the colonial past. But all Prime Minister Jew did at Buckingham Palace, it seemed, was to grin from ear to ear and bow before the King. I note that he was walking very close behind Dame Marcella, my dear cousin, on their way to Westminster Abbey. And I hope he did not step on her dress and cause her to almost lose her footing. It was near chaos when my dear cousin and dear Marcella, thank God, she did not stumble over and fall. Meantime, the whole of St. Kitts Nevis bemoaned. The whole of St. Kitts Nevis bemoaned the size of the delegation, or the Prime Minister's delegation of 8 officials that cost the taxpayers over $250,000 to witness the coronation. Yet he grins while talking about a royal apology from one corner of his mouth. But what did the Prime Minister do or say when the Archbishop of Canterbury invited everyone in the Abbey, and even people watching on television all over the world, to swear true allegiance to the monarch Or did our Prime Minister say this?
Our political independence was just the foundation of our own social, economic, and cultural freedoms. I will confess, we are not totally free yet, but we are on a path of continuous improvement for our people and our country. And as your fourth Prime Minister of this land, I am honored to lead our country along this path. Our nation is much closer to true independence than not. As we approach 40 years as an independent nation in 2023, we also set our eyes on transitioning into a republic, where we truly encapsulate our sovereignty.
Transitioning into a republic and truly encapsulate our sovereignty. But only time will tell, my Tree Dog family. But there are more important things as it relates to the ship of state, and we will focus on those things tonight. For example, food insecurity. Yes, food insecurity remains an issue in St. Kitts in particular. And farmers are crying out. Farmers are crying out, my Straight Dog family, for unity.
Look at what's going on here. You as far as peppers to me pumpkin, from me pumpkin to me sweet potatoes. Every single thing on my farm is overgrown because I do not have the herbicide to control the weeds. Farmers, I'm calling on you all. Let's unite and take a stand. We have to take a stand and demand that they treat us as if we are important, because we are important. Without us, you cannot have food security and food safety.
My Straight Dog family, it's a cry coming from our farmers as it relates to food security and safety. Meanwhile, the Minister of Agriculture is, however, focusing on, according to him, is focusing on growing money on trees. Yes, not me. The minister said this.
Marijuana industry, as we have heard, and we have been dragging at a snail's pace in getting involved. And I could not understand for the life of me why. Literally growing money on trees. But yet somehow, we don't want to participate. But I dare say, that era is over, and it's now a new day, and a better way. So in 2023, expect a vibrant, thriving marijuana industry. Literally growing money on trees.
And that's the laughter coming from the minister, while the cries of the farmers still continue out there.
Reason people change administrations is because if under the previous administration there was no herbicides and farmers could get the supplies to produce the food, would be a reason to change administrations. But no, it has never been like this. Maybe we need to be thinking further and realize that what is going on in the world is beginning to affect us. And so we got to move differently to acquire supplies. It is not a joke. The farms, they're full of bush. And nothing the other farmer could do. You got, some farmers got 10, 20, 30 acres. What you gonna do with it? There is no supplies to take care or assist the farmers in the weed. It is serious. Agriculture department has nothing. The only thing they're selling up there is the donation of fertilizer from Morocco. We got this thing like a joke. These people ain't ready yet. The Minister of Agriculture has yet to meet with the farmers. They ain't know what they're doing, they ain't ready. The thing needs to change, they need to go.
That's the plight of the farmers in our beloved country. Although you've heard from time to time, no doubt, the administration touting self-sufficiency in agriculture for food security. But talk is cheap, they say, but whiskey costs money. And something came to the attention today of Straight Talk. And we have learned that there's some 5 ministers. Yes, 5, F-I-V-E. 5 ministers are out of town, still on the traveling spree. But we congratulate the Honorable, my friend, still my friend Marshall, the Honorable Marshall Henderson, who is acting Prime Minister. Those are my observations in review tonight, my Straight Dog family. And we now embark on my thesis. Now, some weeks ago, my Straight Dog family, I did a thesis entitled A Pending Man-Made Disaster. And I referred to the Prime Minister in the context of our ship of state, and he being the captain of the ship of state, and his cabinet be considered as his crew on board. It is the way in which the ship of state is being navigated, though, that we advance the view that has forced objective thinking minds to opine that there is a pending man-made disaster that can result in substantial political, social, and economic damage of our beloved country that will cause serious injury to the soul of its people. And believe me, the injury has begun. Because last Saturday, the 6th of May, made it exactly 9 months since Dr. Duke was sworn in as our 4th Prime Minister. And truth be told, he has done nothing but to promise and or to lie to the people. He promised to increase the PAP, the Poverty Alleviation Program, that is, from $500 to $1,500. Or, in his words, to mend the PAP, to use his lie. But in fact, he has ended the PAP for so many people, for thousands of people who need the PAP badly. The Prime Minister, instead of mending the PAP, I believe we can conclude that he has ended the PAP for so many people in this country, my Straight Dog family. And we don't just willy-nilly and loosely fabricate things on Straight Talk. You will know by now. Now, this is what the minister with responsibility for PAP had to say.
I use this opportunity to indicate of the Poverty Alleviation Program PAP are mandated to reapply by completing the application form by December 16, 2022. Failure to do so would mean that your payment will cease effective December 31st, 2022. I wish to notify the general public that the mending of the PAP will commence from January 2023.
So, my Straight Talk family, the PAP is being mended. By his own admission, Jeffrey Hanley reported to the Federation that when Labour got into office, there were over 7,000 persons on the PAP.
When the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party won the general elections on August 5, 2022, there were 7,469 payees receiving either regular PAP or PAP as expanded for COVID. The monetary value for each was $3,480,000, payable to 6,960 regular PAP beneficiaries and $254,500 to PAP as expanded for COVID 509 beneficiaries. This totaled a grand payout of $3,734,500.
My Straight Talk family, Jeffrey Hanley gave poor people 3 months to reapply, and thereafter, reapplication, immediately he turned PAP into a temporary cash transfer program.
I take this opportunity to inform the public that with immediate effect, the Poverty Alleviation Program will function as a temporary cash transfer program for vulnerable households that meet eligibility criteria and standard means testing, which is applied to all social assistance programs delivered through the Department of Social Services.
Now, my Straight Talk family, every government has a social responsibility to its citizens and an inherent duty to act in the best interests of the people. Obviously, Dr. Drew does not think that way, because by February 2023, only 2,300 persons were actually paid on the PAP.
PAP would have been paid today, 2,300 people, and the rollout will continue as we seek to revamp that program and to make that program better and to make it more targeted so that we are really putting our resources where they are best.
So that's the situation with the PAP when we said no PAP. Because poor people are hurting under this Jew Labour administration. Because for thousands, there are no more PAP. For thousands of people, and people are hurting.
It is not EASY. It is not easy. And do not be fooled. Do not let no nice show and no nice thing fool you. The $500 we are getting now from the PAP thing, it is so helpful. I wish I could triple it up. It's so helpful. It come in so handy.
Imagine, so helpful, coming so handy, and you take that $500 away from thousands of people. And the country finds itself in a similar predicament in relation to jobs. Because this new government withdrew as its leader after 9 months, still does not appreciate the need to take public policy actions to create an enabling environment within the economy. This shift, however, will need to be led by the private sector, which is the main engine of job growth. When we examine, nonetheless, the recent hiccup with the introduction of the VAT day a few weeks ago, also his loose promise about increasing the minimum wage to $500, it must be one of two things. Jew has no relationship and or respect for the private sector. Jew has no clue how to stimulate the economy. Dr. Jew came into the office of Prime Minister singing one song like Congress, and with one flick, he turned off the switch to the stimulus funding, which was strategically turned on by Timothy Harris during the unprecedented period of COVID-19. He then gave us a Nancy story about investors. He gave us a Nancy story about investors who were patiently waiting for a change of government. That was his Nancy story, my Straight Talk family.
It's quite interesting that after the elections to invest in St. Kitts and Nevis. And they said, why you didn't do it then? And they said they couldn't do it under the last administration. They wanted to work with an administration that they think would be a more prudent administration.
Did they give reasons for that?
Yeah, I think that they felt like they were under duress in certain circumstances. To be frank. And they think that there might have been too much corruption in the system. And many of them stayed away as a result of that. But now a number of them have come forward. But we have also sought new opportunities, which we will also use as a means to help to develop our country. So we are looking at that, so they will have more, foreign investment that would help to stir the economy. But not only that, we are getting ready to set up our small business ministry as well, which will give people the opportunity to own their small businesses, and we'll be investing in that. And when people start their own businesses, we have to think about the creativity and innovativeness of our people. Those things will also contribute to stirring the economy. So,
my Straight Talk family, Dr. Jew also spoke about signing an MOU with a Flexim Bank. But after 9 months of his administration, nothing is going on. Thousands of petitions and divisions are unemployed or underemployed. There are no jobs being created by this Jew Labour administration. And it must be careful with any implementation of a quick fix. That is what many think about this ill-conceived, badly planned, and unwise housing project. Instead of implementing a quick fix housing project, Dr. Jew should be creating the conditions that are necessary for long-term economic health that would enhance the economic freedom of our people. Now the UNGA, that's the United Nations General Assembly, way back in 1985, decided by resolution that World Habitat Day will be marked on the first Monday of October each year. And it is recognized by the United Nations to reflect on the state of towns and cities and on the basic right of all to adequate shelter. The World Habitat Day was first celebrated in 1986, some 37 years ago, in Nairobi, Kenya. And the theme back then, the theme chosen for that year, was Shelter is My Right. The day is celebrated in many countries around the world, and various activities are organized to examine the problems of rapid urbanization and its impact on the environment and human poverty. And I deliberately use the word shelter. So what do I mean by shelter? I'm sure that in your Webster's or your Cambridge or whatever dictionaries you will find definitions such as a building designed to give protection from bad weather, danger, and so on. But you can also run under a tree and get protection from the rain. Is that shelter? To me, though, on a serious note, shelter is one of the basic human needs along with food, water, and companionship. It is a structure that protects you from the elements and gives you a place to live. Housing, on the other hand, is the construction and assigned usage of houses or buildings individually or collectively for the purpose of shelter, and housing ensures that members of society have a place to live. So if I use both words interchangeably tonight, then please understand my Straight Dog family. Now, I spoke earlier of World Habitat Day, but I should have told you, perhaps, that the United Nations Human Settlements Program, UN Habitat, which is the United Nations Agency for Human Settlements, is mandated by the UNGA to promote socially and environmentally sustainable towns and cities with the goal of providing adequate shelter for all. At the turn of this century, there was a United Nations Millennium Declaration that recognized the dire circumstances of the world's urban poor. It articulated back then the commitment of all member states of the United Nations to improve the lives of at least 100 million slum dwellers by the year 2020. We still have some slums here in St. Kitts. I say so respectfully. But to wit target 11 of goal number 7, a task that was mandated to UN Habitat to improve the lives of slum dwellers. As large as 100 million may seem, however, it is only 10% of the present world slum population, which it is predicted, if left unchecked, will multiply, threefold to 3 billion by the year 2050. Ask yourselves then, where would you be in the next 27 years? Because the challenge will be even more daunting by the fact that according to UN Habitat's own research, the world's slum population grew by 75 million in a mere 3 years since the Millennium Declaration. Between 2000 and 2014, the absolute number of people living in slums went from 792 million in 2000 to an estimated 880 million in 2014. Most of them are found in Eastern and Southern or Southeastern Asia. But that is focusing my stray dog family on what I call extraterritoriality. And it is said that charity begins at home. So I ask, where are we as a country in the scheme of our own socio-economic development in St. Kitts and Nevis? Where are we in the context of our own human settlement? These are pertinent questions because housing plays a key socio-economic role and represents the main wealth of the poor in most developing countries, inclusive of St. Kitts and Nevis. Can we deliver on our shared responsibility as a government and the people? And the people are the government. So I am essentially asking you, or us, the people, how can we put an end to poverty, leave no one behind, and create a federation of dignity for all? The very simple answer is to quickly get rid of this Jew labor administration. And whenever we get a chance to amend the Constitution, if we decide to go or become republic, we must put in a clause whereby we can recall governments. But get rid of them is a simple answer. There are obstacles that are faced by our single mothers. For those just getting by on a minimum wage, those on PEP, or rather those on STEP. This is a question that was asked 10 years ago. 10 years ago, a lady asked this question, my straight dog family. Very straightforward question. This is what she asks. And this lady, I believe, fit the category of all above I just mentioned.
I would like to know, how am I working on the PEP for $320? Could PEP was $700 in the house?
Is that question still relevant today? And if so, how can we address the obstacles to affordable housing for low-income families in St. Kitts Nevis? She asks, how can she afford to pay for an NHE house $700 on a PEP salary? Do you believe that mortgage has now gone to $1,000? It's hard. And I was left in a state of ambivalence when I listened to the advice of the minister who was then charged with the onerous responsibility to organize human habitation in St. Kitts and Nevis. Is what he said.
My advice to you are simple. An investment in a home is probably the single largest economic investment you will ever make in your lifetime. And as the years go on, the cost and the value of those homes will rise. Further, you should not become delinquent in your payments to NHC. If you are taking one of these homes and you find that you're committing yourself to something that you cannot pay, don't take it. Wait the next turn. Let someone continue who can afford to pay. I am not saying that you don't tighten your belts, gird up your loins, and make the payment. Do that. But if you know you definitely can't pay, come in, let's talk. Because there might be something that can be done to ensure that you can pay.
My straight dog family, the advice of then Minister Hamilton, I found on the one hand, was characterized by wisdom, prudence, and good judgment. But on the other hand, I said poor people need housing. In just 2 years, we were told by the said minister that the construction costs of these NHC homes climbed by almost 45%.
The cost of building the same homes tomorrow will be much more. NHC has earlier calculated that the home built in 2020 for $165,000 will cost us $235,000 in 2022. That's a significant increase. And I believe we have to adjust that because prices are still rising in some areas. It appears that every conceivable item used to construct homes have been and continues to be subjected to increases in costs except water.
So the next question that I now derive from the minister's advice, or the then minister's advice and update, was very simple and straightforward. How can the NHC apply innovative thinking to reduce the cost of formal low-income housing? That is the housing solution we need. And if NHC is to reduce costs, we cannot continue the same old traditional methods of construction. That has been my view for a long time now. So it is time for the introduction of new and cheaper technologies with supporting energy-efficient buildings, targeting the ever-increasing numbers of low-income families. Is it time for such introduction, I ask? And the answer is yes. If fundamental change is required, or a paradigm shift, to use a colorful term, is needed, NHC, the National Housing Corporation, has to start thinking outside the box if it was going to carry out its legislative mandate, which is to add to and improve the existing supply of houses. Also, to provide housing for the indigent and infirm. That's what the national legislation stipulates. And I believe that the framers of the 1996 legislation governing human settlement in St. Kitts Nevis understood that. A medley of programs needed to be implemented by the ministers of human settlement or housing, urban development, and other agencies to address housing needs. The data gleaned from continuing research indicate that the only housing programs standing alone that reach the poorest of the poor are public housing. But what was announced by the Jew Labor Administration on Thursday last week must be totally rejected, not just by local contractors, but by all potential homeowners in St. Kitts. I want to speak to St. Kitts tonight. Under Jew and half a hoghead, now costing $110,000. That's what we see in the design, a half a hoghead costing $110,000. And the modern version of Roman Phipps, may he rest in peace, Roman Phipps's wire houses on the PAM will now cost $213,000 and $297,000 respectively under Jew Labor Administration.
All homes will be built and equipped. Solar water heater for as low as EC $111,000 for a one-bedroom, EC $213,000 for two bedrooms, EC $297,000 for three bedrooms.
The only difference, my Shizak family, besides the cost, is according to Jeffrey Hanley, all houses will be equipped with a stove, a refrigerator, and a solar water heater. So the half a hoghead, which is a single bedroom, will cost $111,000. Your mortgage will be $1,000, but it will be equipped with these amenities. According to the ambassador for housing, though, it was a significant signing, very significant signing, according to this ambassador for housing.
This is a significant signing. I want to tease to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis what the government of St. Kitts and Nevis promised during this campaign, which is to deliver 2,000 home solutions. And look at where we are now. We are providing 2,400 homes projected over the next 4 years, starting with a 600 home increment. And this is critical. This is critical because the government has said in its recent pre-Labor Day meetings that we intend to deliver on all of our promises.
He said a significant signing. And you may ask, with whom? Significant signing with whom?
As a government, we believe that it is critically important for our citizens and residents to become home owners, and as such has made it a top priority to create affordable housing solutions that will meet the ever-growing housing demand. Today, as the Minister responsible for housing and human settlement, I am pleased to formally announce that the government of St. Kitts and Nevis and National Housing Corporation NHC has signed a contract with East Coast Housing Development, a Trinidadian-based developer, to finance and deliver 2,400 affordable smart homes over a period of 4 years, 600 of which will be made available each year. EC $600 million has been sourced by this developer to fund the project, and the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, through NHC, will facilitate the development and be the point of access for the citizens who are interested in procuring a smart home.
What are the fundamentals of this agreement? Is another pertinent question we ought to ask.
East Coast is a company out of Trinidad, and the fundamentals of the arrangement with the government is this. They are bringing financing to deliver 2,400 homes. And the next part of that, they are bringing a method of construction that will allow us to deliver the homes that we promised to the people. Those two fundamental things.
Two fundamental things. And in an interview with Jamie McPhail, the ambassador for housing told the country as well who really East Coast Development is. Who is East Coast Housing Development, rather?
Can you tell us a little bit about the East Coast Housing Company out of Trinidad? What do we know about that country, about that company, and what do we know about the technology? Has this technology originated in China?
I do believe so. I don't have the specific on that, but East Coast Development is an affiliate of Brico Group, a company registered in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, and most recently Antigua and Barbuda, and has been involved in construction of, but not limited to, infrastructure development, housing, civil engineering, general construction works, not just in Trinidad and Tobago, but in St. Lucia and now in St. Kitts. And they are desirous of lending expertise to the government and people of Antigua and St. Kitts with low funding, with 100% funding of low-income housing program.
And my Straight Talk family, what is the method of construction?
You're speaking a lot about the construction process, right? That says to me that these are not homes that we are, for lack of a better word, accustomed to in St. Kitts. Tell us about the construction of the homes. What material would they be built in?
They will be using just give me 1 second, a method that is known as Crete farm. Crete farm, it's pouring concrete. I myself is new to it, but it's not the usual block and mortar system. These are where you set up
like slabs,
right, and you pour the concrete inside those, and the end result is a wonderful infrastructure. Wonderful.
You realize the hesitancy, uncertainty, my Straight Dog family. But from my research, Crete farm is a new construction system which is easy to use as it reduces labor intensity, cuts costs, and improves construction efficiency. It is also climate resilient and can withstand, according to NATO, believe it or not, he said it can withstand a Category 10 hurricane.
You're speaking about smart homes too. What would make these homes smart?
We're smart. How we deliver smart when it comes to home is we have to consider climate resilience. These houses are built so that they can, withstand earthquakes, typhoons, hurricanes, and of the like.
Tsunamis.
And of the like, yes.
I mean, hurricane. What hurricane force they build to take?
Up to Category 10.
Anyway, you're at 10 anyway, please.
I'm just saying.
My Straight Dog family. Right now we know about Category 5 winds, which can pack up to 200 miles per hour. We had a Category 5 here. We endured winds up to 185 miles per hour that literally took our roofs off. But NATO was willing to gamble that the houses can resist tsunamis and Category 10 hurricanes. We don't know what are these Category 10. But I believe we all must get the hell off the island before the Category 10 strikes, especially on the labor. My Straight Dog family, this $600 million project will create enormous social, economic, and environmental challenges for us here in St. Kitts. It is, according to NATO, a Trinidad and Tobago company, but has no record in building homes in Trinidad and Tobago or elsewhere. If this company has not built 20 homes anywhere, how can we expect this company to build 2,400 homes here over 4 years? That is 600 homes per year. And think about it. That is approximately 2 homes per day. But beyond or behind Leon Nato is a man called Valentine Lindsay. And big lies, you're right. Valentine Lindsay misguided Eugene Hamilton and the NHC for nigh 7 years. He was a political advisor for Hamilton for nigh 15 years or more, and signaled his desire to replace him on the PAM ticket in 2022. He was rejected by PAM, and his $1 million proposal to assist PLP was also rejected, so he found an ally in Terrence Jew. That's one of the many reasons that he was retained as special advisor in housing to Jeffrey Hanley. Lindsay is also very familiar with the Brico East Coast development proposal. How could he advise Jeffrey, you ask? Big lies. But I have given you some food for thought, because I know you both served on the NHC board under Valentine Lindsay and Eugene Hamilton. NHC took the cost of housing. Took the cost of housing of a low-income or affordable house to $165,000. Unpredicted, believe me, my Straight Dog family, that they will go to some $225,000. Did I share that before?
The cost of building the same homes tomorrow will be much more. NHC has earlier calculated that the home built in 2020 for $165,000 will cost us $235,000 in 2022. That's a significant increase. And I believe we have to adjust that because prices are still rising in some areas. It appears that every conceivable item used to construct homes have been and continues to be subjected to increases in costs except water.
Now, my Straight Dog family, under Valentine Lindsay and Jeffrey Hanley, a low-income or affordable home has gone to $297,000.
All homes will be built and equipped with a refrigerator, stove, and a solar water heater for as low as EC $111,000 for a one-bedroom, EC $213,000 for two bedrooms, EC $297,000 for three bedrooms.
But my Straight Dog family, the questions you need to ask. Who wants a single bedroom home today? A single mother with two children, some have three. We are going back to those days when the house is bigger day, but smaller night under labor. We're going back to the Harper Hockheads, if you see the designs. But let's ask the question, does this agreement provide an opportunity for sustainability? Is there the potential to use resources much less or more efficiently to create more sustainable land use and to protect the biodiversity of natural ecosystems? Elder Sylvine Henry was right on the ball, and she thinks not at all.
Land use and land ownership that we are planning to put on all of these individual homes, given the land availability. Somebody was talking about all the hills, and we're talking about climate change. Climate change, you know. And we don't own the land. So the government will first have to go and buy the land, because the land is not ours. And I am surprised in terms of the land use and the construction method. I was expecting you to be going up rather than going across, 3-story, 4-story. Otherwise, we just wasting time. We complain about water problems. Every time you put down these lot of houses on the land, you have less soaking of the water. I'm sure he knows that. So I'm surprised they plan to put down so many houses, individual houses. So maybe they need to go back to the drawing board. It's time that we stop this thing of spreading out the place. It's time that we stop building this lot of and everybody want the fence and the yard. But we have got to be logical.
I don't even think they went to the drawing board as yet, Mrs. Henry. Because sadly, these issues are not easily understood by Leonato, the housing czar. Worse yet, he publicly confessed that he does not understand the legitimate concerns of the local contractors.
The reality is, as 7 years, this country received 500 homes. This country received some townhouses at Bastille. In construction as well, there was the failed pier. There was also the road project that was done. During that 7 years, there was no noise, there was no complaint, there was no dissatisfaction. Done now is that people are planning to protest because they hear the government is going to build 2,400. There's a chat of some almost 100 contractors who seems to have some displeasure. I don't really understand what is it that could be negative about this.
There's so many things so negative about this, Mr. Nato. And there was a noise about the second cruise pier because it is the anchor for tourism in St. Kitts and Nevis, I may add. We needed a dedicated cruise facility to move away cargo, cruise, passenger, or that mix, that dangerous mix. JVD subcontracted Kelly Construction, Seamus Kelly, a local company, who made all the precast slabs and beams. They procured 9,000 cubic yards of concrete, which was supplied by the TDC group of companies, a part of the St. Kitts masonry products. They also procured 1,000 tons of steel, utilizing the project supplied by TDC. My Straight Dog family, all the material for the pier was quarried locally. Same thing for the Old Road Bay project, which was tendered and won by a local contractor, Rock and Dirt. 20-ton, 30-ton, 15-ton armor rocks came from the Public Works quarry. I understand Drew now wants to give it away. Approximately 100 persons were employed for the construction of the second pier. All the welders were local welders, procured by the main contractor, American Bridge. All the fuel and other consumables were locally sourced. The timber from TDC and fuel from Sol. It is the only pier in the Caribbean that can accommodate 2 Oasis-class ships, the biggest ships, simultaneously. And if you said it's failed, Leonato, ask the captains of the cruise lines who come alongside that pier.
It is very nice. The new pier is very wide, and it is much better actually than the previous one. And it's a very nice construction. And for us, from the marine side of you, you have enough fenders, enough bollards, nice and safe, with much better angle against the wind also. So congratulations, this is amazing.
Failed pier? And don't talk about the Island Main Road. Local contractors played an integral part in that construction project. They constructed all the sidewalks, all the drains in their various communities. Over 100 contractors took home over $30 million between them. out of a $69 million project, the money was circulating. Why then NATO, Dr. Joe, Jeffrey Hanley, why has an agreement been signed before establishing whether the government or people approve the houses? This is what you said.
What this government put in place, the government said, look, build 2 modular homes. 2 modular homes. It doesn't matter the size or whatever, 2 modular homes. After completing those 2 modular homes, we will decide if those houses are of the liking of the government via the people. Once these houses are acceptable, then it's, as you say, go man go. Let us build. After that, in 1 year, we will deliver 600.
Imagine that many people. You sign an agreement, broadcast it around the world, $600 million, and you don't know whether the people would accept the modular homes, the sample you will build up to 2. The people are all saying, we cannot survive 4 more years of Captain Drew and his incompetent crew with no PAP, no jobs, no shelter for the poor. That's my story tonight, my Straight Dog family, and I am not going to change it. I tarried long because I think this is an important development in our country. And we must say, hell no. We're not going back to the chicken wire houses and the half-a-hugged houses. No matter how you name them and talk about refrigerator and stove, we're not going back there. But I'll open the lines and entertain your calls and your emails, my Straight Dog family. I always like to implore you. When I open the lines, and I'll do so momentarily, respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned, and let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let us ensure that the things we say and or do will be beneficial to all concerned. And in saying and or doing those things, let us strive to build kinder, gentler St. Kitts. It's 9:17. I go straight to the lines. Caller, you're live.
Paternal greetings and joy to you, brother Patches. Blessed night. How your night is going? And how was the day in the love of the Almighty?
Blessed night, my brother. The whole day and the night is going peaceful. What about yourself?
Well, me giving thanks because me on the night meditation now with some ganja waiting for eye and some good ital veggie food, you know. So me relaxing in my meditation in the backyard. So nobody could come and disturb I. Well, me like to say generally, that's my constitutional right without any fear of favor. Not by the old criminal gangster I got from England. No, I have no old racist, insane king saying he's leader of the Britannia. We like to say he burn fire upon that leader who is now a new monarchy running in the aspect of his mother who just passed on to her judgment fire. So we say lightning on that king there. Hope that he soon go out of the fire within judgment more. Anyway, blessed is the joy of the ancestors and the Almighty Creator Kadamai Haile Selassie and her Royal Highness Zeominam Asawa and our great royal gods and goddesses of the Asian Black Itonal race. I listened to your discussion tonight, and I would like to say good night to your listeners via radio or via Wi-Fi, as they call it, YouTube, Facebook, as they say Facebook, and the other social media aspects. We would like to say that these outlines are put forward towards the housing resolution and those housing confinement when it comes to the prices of our people who is going to these houses to be delivered. when we look at these things, these are not properly discussed for the genuine of the people who are needed in house revolution, whether from the farm administration or from this administration. Because listen, the clips them you played prior to the ones them of the farm administration of under the Honorable Eugene Hamilton, and to this one here who is now under the Honorable Jeffrey Hanley, who is the Deputy Prime Minister, and he say he's caring for the people. The last time he's calling out to you tonight about the Deputy Prime Minister and no fear nor favor. If you so care about the people, then we go back to that drawing board and make sure that the things that matter is implying to engage in the housing development is something that can make our people be assurance in what they're delivering for, not for what you want them to be of. Because these things can't work by no contract and no safety when the people don't have no input in these developments. You see? So these signing agreement, that's what I tell the them, me not trust higher society unto this day, because these people who are put as representative is not for the common man and woman. And until the common man and woman open up them eyes and stop, could they say like they're going to do this here, they're not going to, Virgin and Sister. They're not going to do it. The thing that they're confining is because they are part of the new world order. And that is the business that these people is applying on. You see, we went up there in old Westminster Abbey with that Archbishop of Canterbury. I'm glad me not watch it, because I listen now the word sound of the people who watch it and see the reaction and know that people who open up them eyes to see that amazing structure was applying to a demon insisting as a king of Britannia and the Commonwealth them is under their territorial rules. That's why I just think if Nevis wouldn't change from that Britannial rule, because I love the old dirty queen and kingdom now. Okay. If I run from them people who didn't rise us up, to keep us under their command, because and now we leaders them, who is black like me and you, is still doing the same thing. We say it's time now, we see some changes dramatically, wisely, and positively. Not for personal gain, but for social and the economic must be shared around the table, not for some, and then the others are suffering. So we're going to have a revolution around here. And me not talk because I want to talk. I'm talking it because it's the truth we have to speak out here tonight, without any fear or favor. It's time now we people start being a coward and start lift up your head higher, because your ancestors don't bow their head under the 400 years of slavery. Okay. We are revolution thinkers. And be revolution thinker with wise mind, not foolish mind, because we not come on here to be a fool. Okay. It's time now we understand where we stand in this era. Okay. But the fact is, I hope your discussion go wisely and positively, because the people them need some kind of clearance with what this development is really putting into things and Nevis. Give thanks.
Thanks, my brother. I like your intervention in terms of people input, and I apologize for that caller on my overseas line. I inadvertently disconnected the call instead of accepting the call, so you can call back now. But yes, I agree with you. You have what has been done now, or to be done now, is the fact that there must have been discussion, or there ought to have been discussion as relates to the houses, because it may sound as if I'm bashing the project, but if you look at the design of that first house, the single bedroom house, it's an upscale half a hoghead. That's what it is, And my Trade Dog family, these are the discussions. The fact that in terms of the method of this construction, fine, but what about the quality of the houses and the cost for the ordinary man in this country? Caller, you are live.
A pleasant good night to you, Dr. Ian Patches Libert.
A pleasant night, my brother.
Okay. You know who this is, right?
Sounds like the guy from the volcano. What's up?
Oh yes, man.
What's happening to Montserrat? What's up to Montserrat?
Oh yes, man.
Say hello to Montserrat. Yes.
Yeah, hello up Montserrat there, man. The volcano attendant is right here. And let me hail up some ardent listeners to Straight Talk, and they just make sure that I'm okay every day. Down in the west, Miss P.S. come up in the village, Miss C. Ow, way up north, Miss O, Miss S.O., and down in St. Paul, Mr. Rollins Plantation. Good night, everybody. Let me start with Dr. Joe. Now, Patty, generally, one of the reasons why he don't sound like a leader of a country, he talks fast, and sharp, because he don't want to prolong on the answers to the question that people have asked him. Now, here he, in England tonight, last night or whenever it was, he gone go tell his speech was that he looking forward to what they call it here, republic, because he was never. These are my words, because I can't remember his lying words and what he used. In other words, it means that he was never in favor of what you call it here, independence. But he forget when he swear down here in St. Kitts. He own lying mouth after holding the Bible. He said he will pledge allegiance to the Queen that she never did yet for heirs and successors. He forget he said them there. And then he gone up England and said that he never we never fully independent because we are under them there still, and he looking forward for republic. Well, I don't expect him to tell the truth because he is Satan the second, because we don't expect Satan to say anything good about Jesus Christ. No, so I don't have to hear Satan talk to know he's a blatant liar. And that is what Joe is.
He said
now, a lot of people, Patches, have been crying out because Joe said he's going to move the PAP from 500 and he's going to make it 1,500. But instead of that, he reduced it to nothing, absolutely nothing. And Patches, it's a shame. When Unity was in government, a lot of people overseas from here, they used to say that the government wanted to disenfranchise them from coming home to vote. But look what happened now. Some of them rush in, vote, in a couple of hours they gone back. And right now they're getting the benefits from where they were getting them from. And a lot of them look back and say, Lord, I should have never gone to vote. Right here close by in Tartola, a lady from down west, she needs to call her and tell her, Auntie, I don't respect you no more because you ain't live here 20-something years ago and I ain't come back, but you come home, come forward to give me a government that I don't want, a government that it put me on the suffering and the whole country on the suffering because the little $300 or something a week what she was getting and the PEP they cut her off. Cut she off with it and she don't get nothing else now. And she said, Auntie, I don't respect anyone. I'm going to tell you flat out what you caused me to be doing. You caused me to be doing a lot of things that people calling me war being. Imagine that, Patches. Eh? And niece telling her auntie that because the niece see that the auntie was wrong to come home and vote after 20-something years she ain't come and vote and put her in that. People are suffering in the country. People out there in the diaspora. People in St. Kitts are suffering. No money. Nobody, a lot of them ain't working. Then the little change what they get, as soon as they go in the supermarket, they can't come out with 2 bags. They come out with 1 bag, got in a couple of craft dinner, and whatever, and the other bag full up of corn calls, full up to make it look like they really shop with the little pittance. That is what Dr. Joe and he traveling government, tourist government, that is what they do to this country. The first thing he do wrong, he said the country was in financially red. Well, if he red, you remember he went to where job in Patches. 15 of them went,
Okay.
And a trainee.
Okay,
and they come back and then they went down Dubai, where he and the one from Nevis the political crook, was in the street riding bike to show the people them in back in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Okay, my brother.
Yeah, man, we pass it in all your money. And then again, now, they go on England with an entourage.
Okay.
And then now, I understand again that the deputy prime minister, from up in number one, he now wants another entourage going. And the lady number two now, she acting prime minister.
Okay.
That is a lot of things more to say, but let me move let other people get a lot to do because my coming back can be pepper in the soup.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for your intervention. Let's keep our eyes on the clock, my straight dog family. Let's go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you live. Hello, caller.
Good night, Mr. Straight Talk, the great one.
How are you, my brother? Good night.
I am humble and peaceful, just like you. First of all, I would like to make an address to the housing scheme from my understanding. First of all, St. Kitts has the skill men to do this project. Just like they are going to Trinidad to get this company to come here and make the money that we skilled men who should be making here. The problem is, and is there a problem? The Trinidad company have the funds, as it said, to finance the housing scheme. What about the banks here? The banks here don't have the money to finance the housing scheme under the government. Another thing, the materials that require to build these houses, where are the materials are going to be coming from? Is it China? Is the Trinidad company going to go to China and get these materials cheap? What happened to our salesmen here in the government to go and make bargaining deals for the materials so that they can be feasible? Another thing is, you ever heard of a thing called quantity surveying? Quantity surveying is the amount of materials that required to build a house. With these costs for these houses are too humongous. How people going to find the money to pay these money to NHC? Everything could be financed here and let those bastards get up off their ass and go to China, wherever the materials are feasible, and bring in the materials and have security over the materials so that everything could be economical and efficient. Okay? I've heard the previous housing scheme, too much material for a building that they are building, and what left over, where they gone, while the homeowners observe that full cost for materials that never required. What happened to materials that left over when they are ordering too much materials for a house? And they're passing on those costs to the homeowners. They are not helping. All this money, it could be crunch. And if they are building 2,400 houses, that money could build probably 3,000 houses, because quantity surveying is very important when it comes around building. Okay? And you could get quality for a lower cost. I know that for a fact. I didn't went to school for civil engineer, but I work in civil engineer. Okay? So they are ripping off the poor people. They can't take it no more. It is big rip off. We have these skills here. Let them go and buy their own material and stop depend on another company. Too much middleman. And the middleman is what killing the homeowners, because it's got to trickle down to them. Okay? Everybody is just trying to make money off of the poor. That is unfair. Unfair. Too much money. Thank you. I'm going to come back again.
Thank you very much. I can hear the passion in your voice. And yes, the general view is that the agreement announced by the Labour administration on Thursday must be rejected by the potential home owners and, of course, by the local contractors. But the fact is, my Stray Dog family, right now, there's no PAP, no jobs, and no housing or shelter for the poor. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
Mr. Straight Talk.
Yes, my lord.
Mr. Straight Talk.
Yes, my lord.
How are you?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
What can I say, man? So far, so good. Mr. Straight Talk. I'm driving on the main road, and my sister was there, and I said, girl, I've been everywhere. I mean, America don't have no road like what I'm seeing in St. Kitts. In the night, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, this road lights up ahead of you, and it looks so pretty in the night. I said, no, I haven't seen this kind of roadworks nowhere. I'm in Bermuda, Trinidad, and the St. Lucia. I ain't seen nothing like this. So you guys done something that could never defeated. You're gonna stand forever because you guys went out of your way and done this thing. So Straight Talk, you guys got to be proud because that main road and come to my brother, Old Road Bay, is the best thing I ever seen. So you guys done well. Mr. Straight Talk, I just want you guys to continue do what not only you guys but you do what you gotta do. Understand? I'm meeting many people and I was amazed that so many people listen to you. Just on Saturday, I met a lady and I never seen her before at her home, and she says, I know you know I get to see you because of patches. And I'm all I can say, tell them thanks for supporting you. So you are doing well. So keep doing what you're doing. I'm laughing. I said, but all these people listening and they not say nothing. So you're doing a wonderful job.
Thank you, my brother.
Mr. Straight Talk, be good. I'm on my way out. I'll be leaving on Friday. I hope we get in touch to see each other.
This is your number? I need to call you.
I'll try to. Yes, this is my house number that I only work in my house.
Okay. We'll touch base, my brother. Thanks for your input.
Be good. See you when I see you.
See you when I see you. There was time we see each other. Yes, my Straight Talk.
Yes.
That's Mr. Straight Talk. See you when I see you on a visit from up north. It's 24 minutes before the 10 o'clock hour. We are examining this agreement, in particular signed by the Jew Labor Administration to construct more than one house per day over 4 years. And they have engaged a company that has no record in constructing low-income or affordable homes, but they have the task. I don't know what due diligence was done, but they have the task to do such. Caller, you're live.
How are you doing?
Hello, caller.
Hello?
Yes, you're live.
Hello?
You are live. Good night.
Yes, that's what I said. I said, good evening. How are you doing?
I didn't get you. I am sorry. I now catch you. I am so sorry about this. I can see those dimples.
Oh,
Lord. I'm good. I'm wonderful. I'm peaceful. What about you?
That is,
yes, my dear.
let me tell you something here. I really can't function right now in this place here. I cannot function. When I wake up this morning and I hear the BBC news, it's fake, it's a Nevis, Prime Minister and top thing talking. I will let you know, if all if you want can stop. It has to be there. He had heard and not board. Mr. Brown. We have St. Lucia. We have Jamaica. All of them there. Reparation. That's a different one of them. Think about it. Because he's one in the hospital. So they work in the private hospital.
But he believes that he could talk more. He have a lot of trust and he cannot back up his. I thank to my grandchildren in United States, and my great one, because we going down a slippery floor in this country, and everybody taking it to be like a joke and what's not. Nobody serious. Nobody gonna serious. When a ton of mud rush down off the hill, and when you move it, all of us, and carry us down in the sea, that's when we gonna serious. They have a lot of things to say. When Tim was in, it was the best thing that ever happened to St. Kitts, and in a second, he was the worst. And right now, we have so much of bad things going on in the place. And they're afraid to talk because they're afraid the COVID sneezing. They're afraid that he sting them, but they never afraid to do it. Actually, I'm sorry. England. And now we have 5 going there. Taiwan, China. When you look now, they're going to bring people to work, build house with this load of expense at the all the money they will not from the pan. Could have been in the country to help build house. They must have built 406 and whatever house one time. They could have built 8 and build another 8, they build another 6 and another 4. With all the money where they walk and travel. It seems to me like I say, all who never travel in a think it yet. This is the time to travel. So are you come, let us go. Woe be unto what in this country here. I'm sorry for think it and leave it because I do not know which party we're going. And everybody free to talk now. But on the team, everybody was banging them out. This is turning up for them to get up and bang them out and let the people them who they bring in from up there come down here forward, see what is going on in the country. That's what they're supposed to do. And stop sit down because they wasn't sitting down all the time. But my friend must sit down now. I think you have a pleasant night.
Have a pleasant night as well, my dear. Always good to hear you. Always good for your intervention. Let's go back to the lines. I want to thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yeah, good evening, Patches, man. How are you?
Oh, I am peaceful, man. Yourself?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Yeah, man, I must have to try to encourage you, man, to connect with that gentleman. I know he traveled far to see you, you know what I'm saying?
No, we will connect.
Mr. Street Talk.
We will connect, but we just keep missing each other, but in such a small place.
And I must, maybe I need to let out your secret, man. Just tell him swing by the ferry terminal and he might see you down there.
That is true, I was funny, I was there yesterday, but we will connect.
You see what I'm talking about. If he had came to the terminal tomorrow, he would have seen. Yesterday he would have seen you.
Yeah.
But anyway, man, this talk about this housing revolution, man, it just seems like they're trying to give the people a 6 for 9. You know, it's so amazing to me to see the government will go out. Okay, we coming out of COVID, right? And we're trying to rebuild the local economy. And this might be, I don't know if this is going to be the first big shabam project. And if it is, somebody could correct me if it's not, but this is a big project, the big undertaking. Might be the biggest first undertaking after coming out of COVID. So the people have a right to transparency, man, and to know what they're getting into. The government seems like they just has gone out and make an agreement. It seems like this agreement is already signed off on. But there's no discussion, there's no transparency to the people. I hate when that happens, man. But the bottom line is, man, the money got to get to the local contractors. And it smells rotten, man. It smells stink. I'm going to be honest, man. It smells stink.
And it is very, very strange to you're signing an agreement, but then you're saying you want 2 modular homes built, 2 samples built for people that inspect it and determine whether they're good. I'm happy you said this, right? I heard somebody says on one of your emails, it's a lot of people in St. Kitts and Nevis, they got more degrees than a thermometer. You know what I mean?
look at it. We living in social media time, man. You know, you don't have to build 2 modular homes physically for me to see them, to believe in them, and to know that I like them.
True.
This should have been out on social media already. You know what I mean? I could. Everybody got a smartphone today. You could go directly to your smartphone and you could tell if you want to buy such and such a car at the dealer. You know what I mean? So you can't tell me they're gonna try to pull a blanket over the people's eyes and talk about they're gonna build 2 modular homes, and then is when they're gonna find out if the people them like these homes or not. Nonsense. You know, that's crazy, man. That's crazy thinking. You know, the people. This thing should have been out on the media already. I should have been able to go to my phone right now and see the houses that they're talking about, and I can see for myself what type of houses they are, what the square footage, everything, the materials these houses are being made from. You're talking about modular homes that's prefab. Those houses, they don't have the quality to stand up to the hurricanes, bro. You know, I know what a prefab house is and a modular home is. They're not strong, bro. You know, where's this material coming from? Outside the country, of course. That logistics is gonna kill them. You know, this doesn't sound right at all, man. Yes. It don't sound right at all. It don't sound right at all. But I'm gonna watch this play out, and I'm gonna see. This is a big first project. We're talking about a lot of money, and most of the money is gonna go out of the country. And what is it going to do for the local economy? You know what I mean? But the people, you know, that interview the ambassador did last week, that interview was like, you know, he wasn't prepared for that interview, exactly. Man.
He didn't know a lot of things.
He didn't have the answers.
Yes.
The government, this was like a leak. The government did not say this to the people firstly. The people firstly found out about this through that article in a media from Trinidad. And that type of stuff is outrageous, man. The government, they got caught with their pants down. So they sent him up to the studio of Freedom FM last week to try to, you know, damage control. That guy who says he's not the ambassador, he didn't even have the answers. True. You know, the interviewer himself had needed to just stop that interview. The interview was BS, man. Trust me, it was BS. I don't care what nobody said, man. The man trying to give people a 649 all the time. Yep. The people deserve better than that. And we're talking about going republic, but St. Kitts and Nevis is the smallest independent state in the Caribbean region, but yet still they sent the biggest contingent up to Charles' coronation. The biggest contingent of people who went to Charles' coronation from the smallest country, St. Kitts and Nevis, but they had the largest. There's like somebody said before, they had an entourage going up there.
250,000 cost.
So, you know what I'm saying? But we're going to see where they're going to take this project, and they're talking about going republic. Let's see how long they're going to take to do that.
Yep.
All right, man. Thanks a lot, man. That's my contribution, man. You know, hopefully I'll see you sometime soon, man. Thanks.
I look forward to that, man. Sound contribution as usual. Thanks for your...
All right, man. Thanks a lot, man. Good night.
Have a good night as well. Let's go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Good night to Ian Patty's live, but good night.
Good night, my dear brother. Sounds like Mr. Politics.
A man with strong words and always coming real up the top, blazing like fire.
I humbled my brother on the baddest.
First, I always want to say thank God for the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, a country we are born into and live into, and doing good for myself, and if I can reach out to others, I'll help them. Because any administration in, that is regardless of what, I work and do what I got to do, whatever little I could do, and do. And if I could reach out and help, especially the schools, the school, contribute to the school, whatever little come up, contribute to the schools, because we got to see our young people come up right, and see them come up in the good knowledge and the good understanding with the education that they could move on to a different level of life. I didn't have the opportunity to get that in my time coming. And because of that, I always concerned about the young people. When I was young, coming up as a little boy going to school, sometimes that we got to go milk cattle all in the morning. Got to go milk. Carry milk somewhere, carry milk this way, when you look at water, cattle go feed pig and do all these things. Sometimes when we go to school, when we go there, we sleep, we just sleep because, you know, every teacher tell us to after us. Because what? We can't sleep, we can't get no good sleep in the night, and we got to get up all the morning, but more of Catland, pick up Catland do them things. And that is, I believe that after independence, this country come a long way. A long way. But with our politics here, I believe that if the people of this country don't change the culture of politics, we will always butt up. That is, you know that we like a unity government. And successfully that government was doing good. They was doing good. And the ordinary man and woman in this country, in the federation. And everybody was saying how surprised to be how that car is getting to with the unity government and everything. But what happened now, the unity government scrambled, somebody kicked on with that. A partner, I was trying to put a calypso to a partner the other day, telling the unity government was doing good, but they kicked on with that. And all this moved away, and everything get this away. And that is how the separation comes. And the people, they went to the poll and the people left the Labour government back in. And that is, I say that, I give the government a year and a half, 2 years to see them function. I say that out of my heart. Because the people went and they vote. Because, listen, the cheap political parties crumble. The political parties crumble. Right? Okay. Dr. Harris come campaign, say what he gonna do. Sean Richard did come, say what he gonna do. I believe Dr. Harris had some good ideas, some good promises to the people, and when he get in, people refuse the promises. And we got to work with what we got now. I ain't against people talking out. But we got to work with the election. Because this is justice in a package. This is justice. Remember the people went out and voted for the Labour convincingly, you know.
Yeah, but what about
they voted them convincingly, you know, because
I know they did. Yes. I know they did. But do you believe the people voted for them to do and bring a project like they wanted to bring in with this housing? Do you believe that's what people?
Different projects come already under Douglas administration and Commander administration with the Venezuelan thing and so.
Yeah, but this is 2023.
You know,
this is 2023. You know?
So yes, we will have to see it. I will have to see it work and see if we're going to be successful. I going to happen like the West project them because you know some of them fail. You know, one project of Matilde.
Well, this single bedroom concept is like a glorified half a hoghead. That's what we want in 2023.
Well, Patches, I believe that's for single person who got money. Maybe that's for single person who got money because I don't see an ordinary person who go in a single one room with bedroom and so. And pay $100,000. I don't see ordinary man. But they say that they're going to raise the minimum wage and listen, we let to say everything work out Patches.
Okay.
Before ordinary we continue back on say politics, I will let to say everything work out. And because I always say never come the government in, I always want to see good for my country.
Okay.
And if the government if the government work for the workforce and they do good, the country will do good, it do good for everybody.
Okay.
Patches, you have a wonderful night. May God bless you. And Patches, my condolences go to Mr. Lindsey Grant. I hear his father and his family. I hear Mr. Grant pass. My condolences goes out to him and his family because Mr. Grant was a very good man in West Warm Estate when he was working and have it fold and sometimes they could again get some eggs. Sometimes they get them see, sometimes they give you. Sometimes you get to fall, sometimes to make a Sunday relish.
Okay.
And everything. So everybody in this life, we got the bad and the good, and we got to see how everything work out.
Okay.
That is, bless you.
Bless you as well. And if that's accurate, I want to associate myself with that as well, and extend condolences to Lindsey Grant and his entire family in the passing of his father, if that is accurate. And I don't believe you'll bring such information that's inaccurate, but we do, in fact, extend condolences to on the passing of Warrington Grant. Hi, Mr. Libert, read this email. Good night, sir. I trust you are in good health and fine spirits. I am a civil engineer trained in Canada, but practicing and consulting in St. Lucia, Aruba, Trinidad and Guyana, and across most of the region for the last 20 plus years. I think the people of St. Kitts need to be aware that this Chinese building system, Crete form, which is being proposed to be used in your country, has not been approved or certified for use in Guyana or Trinidad for state-sponsored housing. I encourage the government in your country to pause and try to get advice from your local association of professional engineers, especially before forging ahead with this unproved Chinese system, reads that email. This other email reads, Patches, I did not listen to the last live program, but as I write this, I am listening to the replay on YouTube. I really like the fact that you continue to keep certain matters on the front burner while you cast light upon other developing matters. As you know, I pay attention to the goings on in our beloved country. And given that I am not there physically, it is sources like yours by which I am kept informed. He is trusting that you will never tire. In light that you quote the scripture from time to time, in an effort at encouraging you, I will as well. And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season you shall reap if you not faint. Strengthen your arm as you continue to place your blows, my brother. One love reads this email. Let's go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, your life. Hello, caller.
Good night. Good night, Patrick.
Good night, my brother. Good night, my brother. That sounds like the Bible man.
Your Bible man is here.
And how art thou tonight?
Well, I am going to read from Songs of Solomon. Songs of Solomon, chapter 8, and verse 6 and 7. Here I say, Mr. Patrick, I'm going to take my time.
Please.
Here I said here. Set me a seal upon thy heart, as a seal upon thy arm. For love is strong like death. Jealousy is cruel as a grave, and the cold thereof are the coals of fire, which have most valiant flame. This is the last words in the passage of scripture I'm going to read. Here I say here, many waters cannot quench love, neither can the flood drown it. If a man give his substance to his household for love, it utterly contempt. Mr. Paget, you know what the part of scripture saying? Who want to read it? It's from Songs of Solomon chapter 8, and they could read the whole passage of scripture. And next passage of scripture before I go, the word of God said, cast your bread on the water, and you shall find it many days after. The last passage of scripture I'm going to leave with you. A lot of people don't believe it real. Be not deceived. God is not mocked. Whatsoever man soweth, that is so. That's why it's all I do. Mr. Patrick, you can't plant potato vine and expect to get yam. You can't plant pigeon peas and expect to get the red peas. What you sow,
what you reap.
And finally, you have a wonderful day, wonderful night. And Jesus is coming soon. And if I come on here to tell people, Jesus is coming soon. This minute we hear, this minute we God. We can't carry one blessed thing with us. Good night, Mr. Patches.
Good night, my dear brother. The Bible man, it's always good to see you using your technology. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, thank you for holding your live.
Patches, good night.
Hello, Mr. Jamdown. How about thou?
Boy, I'm alright. Boy, Patches, tell me something. Them smart house deal. The company approached Team Unity about them before. You ever heard that, Patches?
I am not aware of it. I'm not aware of it, to be honest with you.
Well, that is what News Force is telling us, you know. News Force come to the Court of Conscience, asking Eddie Court, and was telling us that they approached Team Unity, and Team Unity said they could do it through National Bank. And they refused them. But something suspicious about that. Patches the house, them look like half a haggard. I wonder if you not think it's people don't go and pass them kind of living deal.
Yes, yes. Half a haggard.
That fellow in the country over there, Timothy Harris, he has set the bar so high. These guys can't buy Patches. Think it's people. They gotta pay. They gotta pay for what they do, right? But I don't want to tell them the time ain't late. The time ain't too late. Just do what they gotta do and bring back the boy. Because the country is suffering. Such a short time and some people balling around thinking. Business people, the common man on the road. Oh, here, look, I mentioned Newton the other day, yeah? The labor weekend. You know when you come to there from Texas to come to the alley there by Nick. Up there where this girl used to live, where they had the shop there behind Nick. Man, is a very the kind of work you had done to clean your tongue. I was seeing what you were trying to do. Now your tongue down back like a canary. I mean, anyway, you're turning your tongue, you're watching the average. It's a shame. And people come and tell us they could do better. I wonder if you think it's people stupid. I don't know, realize, you know. I don't open my eyes. When we not see the top of Bradshaw and Kennedy Simmons, I don't open my eyes. And it's hard to tell the police, you know. I don't understand, boys. Anyway, you're turning back here, somebody abusing and balling. Somebody abusing and balling. Something wrong? But anyway, I want to tell them, you know, is give back the man the support. Give back Timothy
Harris to support because we ain't gonna go through this kind of thing here, you know. We's not going through that. Patches, you have a good night and be strong and keep coming to the poor people. God bless you.
Thank you, my brother. God bless you as well. And that's the question we ask tonight. How can we put an end to poverty, leave no one behind, and create a federation of dignity for all? And someone gave me a very simple answer. That is to quickly get rid of this Jew labor administration. Patches, I hope the people in this country are paying attention to what's happening in this country. Reads this email. Since this wicked, uncaring, heartless government took office, the day-to-day living of the poor man has gotten harder, and the government don't seem to want to help. They have taken away the PAP, which was helping thousands of poor people to cope with the high cost of living. They also took away the food voucher from people who needed it. This is a wicked government. They are not doing anything to make the life of the poor man any easier. Not even affordable housing. They should be ashamed of themselves. They had lied and deceived the people too much, and too many broken promises. They must resign now. Reads that email. Patches, Nato said something about a Category 10 hurricane. He knows what the hurricane with that strength is. As far as I know, we never had one with winds of that magnitude. He needs to shut up if he doesn't know what he is talking about. Reads this other email. This email reads, good night, Patches. So, Prime Minister Drew returns to St. Kitts on Wednesday, attends Errol Maynard's funeral on Friday, and leaves St. Kitts on Saturday again to attend a Mother's Day gala in New York. This trip I hope he pays out of his pocket, as this is not on government business. Reads that email. Patches, everyone here, you ever hear anything like this? A function being held under the patronage of the Prime Minister in the Bronx by a labor group on Mother's Day. But he's also the guest speaker. Ludicrous. Dr. Drew needs to spend time with his own mother on Mother's Day. He just like to be in things. Read this email. It's a few minutes past 10 o'clock, my Straight Dog family. I'm going to take a few more calls before I wrap tonight. Since I tarried for a long time, I thought I had that caller, but the caller has gone. I'll take a few more calls before I wrap for tonight's programming. But if you join us late, we looked at this proposal coming from agreement signed by the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. And lots of people spoke about this Creed form, which is a Chinese related system of building. And the question was asked of Leonata, who is, we are told, a special advisor or a guru on housing in St. Kitts. And when asked the question about the particular type of a building, or the system of building, or the method of construction, I should say, NATO had this to say, my Straight Dog family.
That says to me that these are not homes that we are, for lack of a better word, accustomed to in St. Kitts. Tell us about the construction of the homes. What material would they be built in?
They will be using just give me 1 second, a method that is known as Creed farm.
Mm-hmm.
Creed farm It's pouring concrete. I myself is new to it, but it's not the usual block and mortar system. These are where you set up
like slabs,
right, and you pour the concrete inside those, and the end result is a wonderful infrastructure. Wonderful.
My Shreddock family, Creed Farm is this new construction system, as he explained, which is easy to use. It reduces labor intensity, right? And would you believe that NATO even went on to say it's climate resilient and can withstand a Category 10 hurricane? But let's get to the lines and thank this caller for holding caller you live.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much, Patrice.
Thank you.
Patrice, let me tell you something. Anybody thief anything from anybody, no honest person supposed to say they're going to work with them. You have to correct a thief and penalize that thief. And that is what happened here in St. Kitts. Jew and the Labour government, they thief the election. They stole the election, and everybody know that, because the election was not fair. So therefore, I just wish that they would come to the senses and correct the mistakes and apologize to the nation for what they have done. Now look how loyal Dr. Joe is. When he took up office, he said that the country was in financially red. And we know what red means. Well, if the country in red, why is he going on so much a tour with the large entourage? Come on, Dr. Joe. And remember, he said that for seven years, no investors invested in St. Kitts. And as soon as the election come, he said that investors reached out to them and said that they were waiting. Waiting for what? Well, since he said that the investors were waiting, why don't he start something and show the people them that the investors were really waiting, as he said? Now, when they were going to build the pier the first pier in Port Zante, they had a diagram of the pier in the Pelican Mall. So anybody could have go there and look at it and see what the pier would be looking like when it is built. And then they could go now and make agreement and sign what they're going to sign. But this time, you know, they put the cart in front of the horse. Go and sign, and they have no design for people to look at and say, well, oh, this is how the house is going to look. Well, he cannot fool me. Prefab houses is what they had in Turkey. You see what the earthquake do in Turkey with those houses? And all the contractors them get lawsuit from the government for building poor, weak, dilapidated building and had people living there for years. They toppled down from high up, come right down. And if they had in any steel, all those concrete would not have come down on the ground like that. There was no steel in them. And so that is what we're going to get around here with the prefab house. When Leon not to say that, I mean, the prefab house, they wouldn't take too much labor or whatever it is. What happened to the laborers? Come on, NATO. A Hurricane 10 would be able to move Wilson Hill, flatten it. So what a Hurricane 10 would not do with house? Everybody will be blown in the sea and drowned. You all don't know nothing about leading a government. Or you just gone in there to tour and full up all your long pocket and telling the whole country lies. Too much lies. God gonna wash in all of you because you hold the Bible in all your hand and swear that you all will do the work without fear or favor. And this is what you're doing? God ain't playing with all you. But it's time gone. But anyway, I'll catch you Thursday before you leave. All the best to you. And good night, Walford. And my deepest sympathy to Captain Errol Maynard and Mr. Grant and all who pass on. We all have to go someday. I got a lot to say, but I can't keep up the line. Have a good night. Watch your back. Watch your back, Patrice.
Thank you very
Jam
much.
down and see you Wednesday in town. Good night.
Thank you very much, my dear brother. And yes, as we wind down tonight's programming, I'll perhaps take one more call if the caller can deal with 30 seconds. But meantime, the houses, we are told, they are climate resilient. That's why they are called smart homes by Straight Talk family. And this is what Nato said, even though he didn't seem to know too much about them, but he said this.
To ask you, what would make these homes smart?
Well, smart. How we deliver smart when it comes to home is we have to consider climate resilience. These houses are built so that they can, withstand earthquakes, typhoons, hurricanes, and of the like.
Tsunamis?
And of the like, yes.
I mean, hurricane, what hurricane force they build to take?
Up to category 10.
10 anyway. You will at 10 anyway, please.
I'm just saying.
My Straight Talk family, this message reads, Patches, what did the people expect when they elected a total novice like Drew and a green band of misfits? Mr. Liebert, the only steel that cheap Chinese building system create form that Drew is bringing is stealing. That's a very interesting perspective. The only steel that cheap Chinese building system create form that Drew is bringing is stealing. That's very interesting. That's the way we're going to end it, nonetheless, my Straight Dog family, because I'm out of time. I just thought I'll give you something extra tonight, but we're going to move on. Because right now, the issues relates to housing and housing for the ordinary man. And the ordinary man must not be fooled, because these houses really are not for the poor, the ordinary man, the low-income man. They call them affordable, yes. But who can afford them? Who can afford a house for $297? Who can? Who can afford a house for $213,000? I said $297. Take it back. $297,000. And who can afford a one bedroom for $110,000? But we are told, my Straight Dog family, that the sample of the models, the two models will be constructed, and the people will determine if that is what they need. And this is what's been said after signing this $600 million agreement.
Build two modular homes. Two modular homes. It doesn't matter the size or whatever, two modular homes. After completing those two modular homes, we will decide if those houses are of the liking of the government via the people. Once these houses are acceptable, then it's, as you say, go man go. Let us build. After that, in 1 year, we will deliver 600.
Could you imagine that, my Straight Dog family? You signed a $600 million agreement. Then you're going to build two modular homes. And if the people, or as he said, the government to the people, are satisfied with the homes, then it's go, man, go. But the other thing to consider as well is the land use. St. Kitts we don't have a lot of land. So the sensible thing to do is go up in the air. That's why townhouses started to be built. On the Wellington Road, we built these three floors because land is scarce. But all of a sudden, they're going to build 2,400 bungalows around St. Kitts. Do you believe that? Don't believe that.
That we are planning to put on all of these individual homes, given the land availability. Somebody was talking about all the hills, and we're talking about climate change. Climate change, you know, and we don't own the land, so the government will first have to go and buy the land, because the land is not ours. And I am surprised in terms of the land use and the construction method. I was expecting you to be going up rather than going across, 3-story, 4-story. Otherwise, we just wasting time. We complain about water problems. Every time you put down these lot of houses on the land, you have less soaking of the water. I'm sure he knows that. So I'm surprised they plan to put down so many houses, individual houses. So maybe they need to go back to the drawing board. It's time that we stop this thing of spreading out the place. It's time that we stop building these lot of and everybody want the fence and the yard. But we have got to be logical.
Got to be logical. And you have to show some concern for the local talent we have here in terms of our contractors or builders.
Over the last 7 years, this country received 500 homes. This country received some townhouses at Bastille. In construction as well, there was the failed pier. There was also the road project that was done. During that 7 years, there was no noise, there was no complaint, there was no dissatisfaction. Don't know is that people are planning to protest because they hear the government is going to build 2,400. There's a chat of some almost 100 contractors who seems to have some displeasure. I don't really understand what is it that could be negative about this.
Well, you wonder if NATO understands anything. Because my Straight Talk family, this $600 million project will create enormous social, economic, and environmental challenges for us here in St. Kitts. And according to NATO, this company has no record in building homes in Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, or nowhere. If this company has not built 20 homes anywhere, or even 10 homes anywhere, how can we expect this company to build 2,400 homes over 4 years? How could this company build 600 homes each year? That's approximately 1.5, 2 homes per day. But you see, my Straight Dog family, they believe that the people in St. Kitts are foolish. Does this agreement provide an opportunity for sustainability? Is there the potential to use resources much less or more efficiently to create more sustainable land use and to protect the biodiversity of natural ecosystems? There was no noise at all because your predecessors in government did things differently. On the road project, I said over 100 contractors benefited. They got millions of dollars shared between them. So why has an agreement been signed before establishing whether the government or the people would approve the houses? The people are all saying we cannot survive 4 more years of Captain Drew and his incompetent crew. With no PAP, no jobs, no shelter for the poor. That's my story tonight, my Straight Dog family, and I am not going to change it. I want to thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight, as always. I want to thank you, the many listeners on social media, in particular Facebook and YouTube. Those who send emails, remember, you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. I am Ian Patches Library, and God's Spear, we will connect on Thursday for another edition of Straight Talk. Until that time, be good to yourselves and to all whom you meet. And remember, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you got to believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light and thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Dog family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Thursday.